Let me ask you something. Let's say I gave you 10 questions, just 10, and then I told you that these questions could show you what a person is actually like. Would you then use those questions? Now, these questions are just calm, normal questions that seem harmless on the surface, but underneath they cut very deep. They go into childhood wounds. They show you secret fantasies, guilt, envy, shame. Now, I understand this might sound like pop psychology, but it's not. It's psychoanalysis, which is raw, eerie, and very precise. The study of how the unconscious controls us. And when you know what to ask, people reveal everything without even realizing. So today, I have decided that I will show you 10 subtle questions that can expose someone's inner world. And I will break down why each one works, what it reveals, and how to read between the lines. Do take note that these aren't for small talk. These are for those who want to understand people at their core. So let's begin. The first question I want to give to you guys is, what kind of person annoys you the most? Simple question. But of course, don't be fooled. This one's very deadly. Whatever they say, fake people, loud people, selfish people, that's not just about them. It's about you. In psychoanalysis, this is called projection. When there is something in us that we hate or fear but can't admit, we project it onto others. So, if someone says, "Oh, I hate people who seek attention," chances are they crave attention but were taught that wanting it makes them bad. This question exposes the parts of someone they have buried, and those parts always come out sideways. The next question you can ask is, what did you daydream about most as a child? Before the world told us who to be, what did our minds escape to? This question digs into unconscious desire. Freud believed that our adult personality is a patchwork of childhood dreams, wounds, and fantasies. If someone says, I imagined running away, that's not just imagination, that is a need. Maybe they felt trapped, suffocated. If they dreamt of being, famous, maybe they felt invisible. Daydreams are not random. They are stories the unconscious tells when no one is watching. Ask this, and you are asking, what were you starving for back then? The next question that we should ask is, what kind of people make you nervous for no clear reason? Now, this one is strange, but of course it hits something deep. We all have that feeling. Someone walks into a room and something inside us clenches. No reason, just, discomfort. In psychoanalysis, this is called the uncanny. These people reflect parts of us we have disowned. It's like looking into a distorted mirror. If someone says, I don't know why, but really confident people make me anxious, it might mean they have buried their own confidence. Maybe they were punished for speaking up as a kid. Now they see boldness as danger. This question is a map of unconscious fear. The next question to ask is, what's your guilty pleasure? This of course sounds playful, but what it really shows is the war between desire and shame. In Freud's model, there's the id, pure desire, and the super ego, which is the inner judge. This question reveals where those two fight. If someone says, I watch trashy shows, but I hate that I enjoy them, that's guilt. Somewhere in their life, they have learned that pleasure is equal to weakness. Ask this, and you'll see what someone secretly enjoys and what they secretly hate themselves for enjoying. The next question to ask them is, would you rather be alone forever or stuck with someone you don't love? This one is cruel but brilliant. It forces people to choose between emptiness and entrapment, and their answer tells you everything about their attachment style. Some people would rather be miserable with someone than be alone. That usually points to abandonment trauma. They'd rather suffer than be left. Others would rather die than feel trapped. That often comes from feelings of when love felt like control growing up. It's not really about love, it's about how they learned love hurts. Another question is, what's something you have never forgiven yourself for? Because people carry guilt like a ghost on their back. This question pulls that ghost into the light. If someone says, "Oh, I don't know," they're lying. Everyone knows. Guilt does not vanish, it hides, it festers, it becomes identity. And often people feel guilty about things that weren't even their fault. Like a child blaming themselves for a parent's pain. That's called introjection. When you swallow someone else's blame and make it your own. Watch how they answer. Watch their voice. The guilt will always show. Another question is, tell me about a time you were humiliated. This is the question that strips the ego. Psychoanalysts call these events narcissistic injuries. Moments where the mask slipped and the real self got hurt. People don't forget these moments. Even if they laugh them off, there's tension behind the smile. If someone refuses to answer, that means the wound is still raw. If they make it funny, they are covering it with defense. But somewhere in their story is the original scar that shaped their pride, their fear, their perfectionism. Humiliation is how the ego learns to hide. Now, number 8. This is the next question. What do people always misunderstand about you? This question is quiet, but it reveals someone's private ache. It shows the part of them they feel the world has never truly seen. And that tells you what they are starving to be seen for. In Jung's theory, this touches the persona, the mask we wear. But behind that mask is the true self, buried under shame or fear or rejection. If someone says, "People think I'm cold, but I'm not," they are telling you how lonely that mask makes them. This question shows where the masks end and the person begins. Number 9. If you could say one thing to your mother with no consequences, what would it be? This is the softest knife. Psychoanalysis begins with the mother. She is the first relationship, the first mirror, the blueprint for how we feel loved or abandoned or punished. If someone says, "I'd say thank you," but their voice goes flat, there's something beneath that. If they say, "Oh, I don't know," they probably do, but it's too heavy to say. Whatever they answer, pay attention to the silence that follows. That's where the truth is hiding. And the last one, what scares you more? Being truly known or being totally alone? This is like the final gate. Most people fear one more than the other, and that fear controls their whole life. If someone fears being known, it means they have learned that vulnerability leads to pain. They grew up needing to hide. If they fear being alone, it means they once were and it broke something inside. This question is about masks, walls, abandonment, and longing. It's not just what they fear, it's what they believe they will always have to live with. These questions are not tricks. They don't work because of the words, they work because of the reactions, the silence, the shift in tone, the little defenses that rise up like smoke when the unconscious is touched. So don't just listen to the answers. You need to watch what changes when the question lands And most importantly, if you want to use these on others, you have to ask them to yourself first. Because psychoanalysis isn't about judging people, it's about seeing them completely without flinching, even when it gets dark, especially when it gets dark.